Okay.
It is 4:30, and I thank you each for signing on to this important Zoom to learn about Farmerettes and how we have moved a little bit to honoring the Farmerettes and the group that worked in the fields when our farmers were at war. So I wanted to think that, could you please show me a raise of either your hand or your electronic hand, those of you who have heard anything about Farmerettes? Have any of you been on? Okay, we have. Okay. All right. So Kate, you have 1/4 have and 3/4 have not. So this,
yeah, I told you, Kate.
she will tailor the talking to everyone then. Davina and I want to thank each and every one of you for always coming and being part of NSDOAF and such an important part as an ambassador. You realize, and we realize, that you are the backbone, you are the reason, and you are the ones that make us shine. You are the ones that everybody sees first. And we thank you from the bottoms of our hearts. We really appreciate it. Before I turn this over, I'm going to ask Davina for numbers, for farmer numbers. This is exciting today.
It is. We just got a new member. So our count is 1185 and our supplement count is 1177.
It's catching up.
Yes.
Thrilling. And Sue Fitzpatrick, the last one that came in, was from California and also from SOS.
Oh,
so
great.
With saying that, I am going to ask Nancy Gilfillan to take over and say a few things before we turn it over to Kate and to any of the other team. So it will be Kate, Linda, and Charlie if she signs on. All yours, Nancy.
Thank you, Madam President National. I'm really glad to see everybody. I admit I'm the reason you got this thing today, because I felt, and then President National agreed with me, that we ambassadors need to hear directly from our farmerette directors, all of them, just what this new program is about, not by hearsay, not by, oh, gee, did you know we've got this new club? Did you know? No. We need to know exactly what it is so that when people talk to us, we can answer them and have the answers, because that's our responsibility as ambassadors. So you guys got to teach us well today. So I asked Kate and Linda and Charlie, they are our farmer ambassadors, to talk to you while the program is still new. Now, I'm assuming they're going to give us updates as we go along through the year, but it's a new program now, and we're trying to learn, and we're trying to be on the front page, not the end of the book, even though we're trying. And I know that there are a bunch of us who have the book, the starting book. So with that, I am going to give the floor to Kate Skleekus, Linda Mizell, and Charlie Mullenwood when she gets on. If she gets here. She was in the middle of classes and stuff, I think, and wasn't sure she was going to make it. But you guys are doing a wonderful job, and these are our new directors, and we're proud of you. So.
Thank you, Nancy, and thank you, Janice Sue. And I'm so glad that at least a fourth of you already know a little bit about Farmerettes. We've been on the Wyoming Ranchers Replacement seminar, webinar. We were at a board meeting, and at SOS Sharing Our Societies, we spoke. There's been Facebook posts. And how did we start? Why are we doing this? Jenny Holmes had heard about, read about the women during World War I and even World War II who volunteered to help pick crops throughout the nation because the men who normally picked crops were off fighting. Elaine Weiss has written several things, but this was an article that Jenny Sue found. It's in the Smithsonian Magazine. And this article gives you a quick and dirty overview of what the farmerettes were doing. They were women who were trained to go out and run tractors, to plow, to select crops. And yes, at first, the farmers weren't really enthusiastic about these young women coming out to help, but they were well trained. And the farmers realized that, oh my goodness, these young women worked hard and they were actually good at picking the crops and making sure that only the best was selected. The article points out that in California, they had 175 women register in Sacramento to be a part of the Women's Land Army. And at this point, we found 9 of them. So that's going to be hopefully a long-term project, is finding the number of farmerettes who served. There is no master list. When Jenny Sue asked me first to start looking, I had this delusion that I'd write a couple of emails and someone would happily send me lists and that'd be it. Well, no, that's not it. And you'll hear from Linda Mizell about the research that we're doing to get the names that we already have. This book is a gold mine of information. She has a number of women mentioned in here, and they're now in our list. The list is a little over 750 women, but some articles talk about, oh, there were 12,000, 15,000, even some say there were 400,000 women out there working. So our sort of beginning is good for us, but there were lots more women to find. Elaine Weiss has an enormous bibliography at the back. Lots of resources that she is quoting in her book. And we have all started looking for those articles so that if there are any names mentioned in them, because Ms. Weiss' job was not, her task was not to name names and create lists. Her task was to tell the story of the women who went and saved the crops and helped feed not only America, but also our military overseas and the Europeans. The Europeans were having a hard time because their men were all at war and their fields were being bombed, and it was really hard. The Women's Land Army started officially in Britain, and our members, our ladies, went over there and talked to their organizers and said, oh, we could do that in America. We need to do that in America. Our farms also need help. In World War I, Great Britain really started it. And in America, there were food riots because you're familiar with supply and demand. And at this point in the country, most of the food was going overseas to our military and to help feed the Europeans who were in great distress. So prices here went up because there wasn't as much food. And the food riots sort of encouraged the political leadership to think about what can we do to get food in, get the crops going? How do we get the farmers to plant more? And then how do we get people to pick what they've planted? The women who worked together, figuring out how to do this, were so organized. We have received this report on the Wellesley College training camp. It was predominantly university women in the Northeast who started the Women's Land Army, started being the workers. And these leaders created a format so that the women would work safely on the farms and that the women would be helpful and the farmers wouldn't have to worry that these women were going to make more of a mess and take more time training. Therefore, these training camps were set up around various parts of the country. There was one at the University of Virginia. There was one at Wellesley. There was one, there were several in Massachusetts. And in Elaine's book, she talks about how many there were, which means there were a lot of women out there serving, and we don't have their names yet. the University of Virginia Training School had a poster that we have sort of appropriated to demonstrate that the women went out and worked. They had uniforms which helped them work in the field and yet were useful and helpful for them. And it became the thing to do for the women to be out there in the farm and helping. And now I'm going to turn over to Linda, who's going to talk about how we research, where did we go, how are we finding these not only posters, but articles. So Linda, I'm going to hush and let you talk.
Okay, thank you. First, I'm going to mention our Illinois Heritage Weekend in September, sponsored through the Illinois Heritage Alliance. There are 19 lineage societies in Illinois that participate, and we have meetings and informational presentations. And NSDOAF will be participating for the second year. Nancy Gilfillan, our organizing director, and Julie Barnes, the Illinois ambassador, will tell all about NSDOAF, the objectives and scholarship program, and I know they'll have some applications available. I'm going to be there to discuss the Farmerettes and how they got started and our goal of identifying the participants. We're going to have a display with our 6-foot banner, NSDOAF banner, and some Farmerette posters. And Farmers is also the hostess for the Saturday evening banquet. So I know Jenny Sue is sending table favors and notepads for all attendees. So NSDOAF is going to be there a lot, and we hope to get lots of new members. I'm going to have a list of the women who trained at the Libertyville training camp, which was near Chicago in World War I. And I'm going to share that list of women with all of the attendees. And it's my hope that they will take this list back to their groups and someone will recognize a name. Most all of us are genealogists of some type or another, so a name a few generations back should be familiar. You can also help search in your area if you like. And we have the name, the Farmerettes, which you've heard, the Women's Land Army, WLA. They were also sometimes referred to as tractorettes in the West. And during World War II, it was called the Crop Corps for some. So you can start like state archives, state archival libraries, extension services that are most times associated with a state university, state historic preservation offices, farm bureaus, farm labor programs, garden clubs. You can start with a simple Google search, for instance, extension services in Missouri, or farm labor programs in Kansas during World War II. Interesting that one of the garden clubs in Chicago during the World War I in 1918 and 19 sponsored some of these women who didn't have money to travel to the training camp and offered them scholarships. So we are hoping that these women are named. If they gave money for the ladies to travel, we're hoping that we can find a name. We know of 8 Midwestern states that were involved during World War II, and that was Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Michigan, Nebraska, Ohio, and Wisconsin. If you receive a reply, it may contain several sources for you to check. You can share that with us. We have a large database, which you'll hear a little bit about. We're keeping track of names and sources and lots of things. In your query, be sure you mention NSDOAF and that our goal is to identify the women who were involved. And besides asking for information, you might just ask if they have other contacts that they could share with you. And when you get a reply, even though they don't have any information for you, be sure to thank them for at least taking the time to look and share with you what they found. So as Kate said, there's no national list. Most of these women were single, many of them college students. And of course, they probably married and could have moved several times. So for some, we only have a last name, but we hope we will find through some genealogy work, once we feel our name list is pretty solid, we hope to find their descendants. And honor them with a recognition certificate, and maybe also mark the graves of any that we know were buried. And you'll hear a little bit more about that too. So Kate, back to you.
Kate, before you start again, I think this is an appropriate time for me to tell everybody. I'm going to put a little note up on the board, and it's going to show a poll. It really is not. This is from our attorney. It is important that NSDOAF does not do anything that contradicts the purpose stated in the certificate formation of bylaws with Farmerettes. I just believe that you all need to see that. That was from our attorney. And this way you know that we are part of NSDOAF, and we need to be very careful that we don't be political in any way. I'm sure you won't, but I'm just reminding you. Back to you, Kate.
Thank you. All right. As Linda said, we've started asking. Charlie Mullenweb created an Excel shareable file that we have been entering information. We have, there's a sheet for the contacts, who we write to. And at the moment, we've sent emails to 38 libraries and archives. Some of them have been helpful. The Illinois Archives was able to share a 106-page file that Linda Mizell was able to acquire and go through. The DAR had a company of women who went to one of the training camps and learned how to go out and work on the farms, and they shared their file. Vassar went through their online files and sent us links, but the gentleman also went through some of their paper files, and he found a newsletter which listed Farmerettes from 1918. And that was a wonderful gift. So we do have those, and we are compiling the names. And as I said earlier, we have about 750 names so far. We have 33 states have someone that we found in them. According to the articles that I've read, there were at least 40 states that had Women's Land Army units or Farmerette units. So we're missing 7 states. And of the 33, the most Farmerettes are in, let me get mine. I'm a numbers person. I took one of those, what should you be when you grow up tests? And it said I should have been a bank VP. Now, mind you, this was when my children were little and I didn't have a college degree. So it made me laugh that that's what they thought I ought to be, but that's what they thought. So we have the 33 states, and the most we have in a state is in New York. We have 227 names out of New York. And believe it or not, DC has 213 names because the Maryland people did a lot of training, but the women lived in DC. And so that's what we're counting is where did you live? So we're hoping that we will be writing brief biographies of these ladies and maybe having a part of the website which talks about them. I've started to compile some Word documents on them as I'm going through and finding ladies. And what we all need to kind of remember is this really happened for 2 years, 1917 to 1919. These were mostly young women who then went on to finish their degree, get married, have children, live life, raise them, have grandchildren. And my guess is they didn't really talk about this. It was 2 very quick years during the war. When they went out, they did the work, and then they went home, and they just didn't talk about it. I kind of laughingly say, you know, there were things I did in my youth that I don't tell my children either. So I understand that they didn't talk about it. It didn't seem important enough to talk about. But once Jenny Holmes shared with us that these women were out there, and we read Elaine Weiss's book, it seemed like, okay, they were important. They need to be remembered. In the process, we have started a, well, maybe we've started a Find a Grave virtual cemetery. Up there it is, Find a Grave virtual cemetery. And so far we have 106 out of our 750 ladies are noted in here. Now you're thinking to yourself, how did you find them? They aren't really recorded. Well, we have the year they were involved with the Women's Land Army and where, and most of them list some sort of home city. And I went and looked in Ancestry and I did a 1920 census search to see if I couldn't find them. And Ancestry is so helpful. If you find the right woman, then they'll tell you all these other places that she also is in their database. And that's where I'm finding the Find a Graves. I have discovered there are a number of women with the same name in the same town, about the same age. And so they will take a little heavier lifting to figure out which one of those ladies was the Farmerette. I've posted the link to the Find a Grave virtual cemetery on our website, not on our website, on our Facebook page. So there is somewhere for you to go and see them. Now, is Charlie Mullenweb here?
He is not.
Okay, then I'll go on to Charlie's passion. Charlie Mullenweb came up with this thought. There are still people alive who served during World War II. She would like, if we find some World War II farmerettes, she would really like us to shower them with love and affection and send them farmerette cards thanking them for their service, because my guess is they've mostly forgotten they did this. And to be reminded that we appreciate what you did to feed this country while the men were off at war will astonish them. I'm in several lineage societies which honor women who were alive in certain times of our country's history, and we send them cards, birthday cards, Christmas cards, thank you cards for their service. And so Charlie felt like, okay, we do it for those ladies. Let's do it for any World War II farmerettes we find. Now, at the moment, I haven't found any living World War II farmerettes. The World War II farmerettes I've found have already passed, but that doesn't mean they're not out there. And we just need to, as we're searching, start looking. So there you are. This is a unit of the farmerettes. It's very similar to the youth unit, where you're looking for, the youth are looking for membership. It's not separate from NSDOAF. You don't have to join us. This is just a project, something that Farmers is doing to honor those women who also served on the farm. And because they served in that little bitty window, 1917 to 1919, it's past our membership time for 1914 farmers, and they're not going to be listed as a farmer in the 1920 census. And the World War II women didn't really start until 1941-42. So they won't be listed in the 1940 census. This really will be a labor of love and a way to honor women who served in ways that I can't imagine. I will admit, I'm a city girl, and it's Publix for me. Those of you who are familiar with the Publix grocery store, it's a lovely place. And it's where I like to go and get my organically grown groceries. Please don't make me take my nails out into the yard and dig in the dirt. But these women did. They gave up their educational time and they went out and they volunteered and they served. Now, I'm sure Janie Sue's going to say, if you have any questions, please.
I will. I would like to first, while we have everybody here, I would like to take some photographs, please. Linda, it's so good to see you. Thank you, everybody, for signing them. We are going to have questions, and I've asked everybody to unmute. So after questions, Christina Hersloffler will explain more about scholarships, and then we have Sue Fitzpatrick, who will tell us a little bit about update on membership. So photographs. Wayne. We got some photographs.
Hi, Sue.
Does anyone have questions for Kate or Linda or myself?
Yeah.
Who wants to go? Cheryl? Go
This
ahead,
is
Cheryl.
Trish. Genesee, this is Trish. Sorry, I was eating dinner too. I'm kind of confused. The Farmerettes, are they basically urban women that wanted to participate, or because I mean, we're farmers. I mean, my ancestors during that time period, they lived on farms. So I've never heard of the term farmerette until all this started coming out. So I don't think I'd be able to find a farmerette.
You'd be surprised, but yes, they were usually university city women who were going out because the farm wife was the only woman on the farm, and she was cooking and cleaning and working out in the farm the best she could. And she and her husband were trying to run it, and all the young men who normally helped on the farm had gone off to war. And so these young women, city girls, that's why they had training camps, because they were not farm women. They didn't know anything about working on a farm. They didn't know how to drive a tractor. They didn't know how to run a team pulling a plow. They knew nothing. I mean, they make me look almost knowledgeable about vegetables and farming. And
Okay.
I told you I'm
so,
and Trish.
So our objective then is to find farmerettes in general, or are we supposed to be finding farmerettes in our family?
Trish, it is up to each ambassador whether they want to delve into locating farmerettes, whether they be in your own family or out of your family. It's not a requirement. This is something that a few of us are enjoying, and we wanted to spread the wealth and let the ambassadors know about it. So
okay.
those of you who would like to jump in and enjoy, then please do so. I have two hands up. Chris, you first.
Thank you, Madam President National. Thank you to our panel today and our new directors, Kate and Linda. Thank you so much for all the information that you're providing to us. And although I missed your last presentation, I was on vacation. I just watched the video yesterday and totally enjoyed it and learned a lot. So thank you. I also have my book, so I am avidly reading. And my question to you today, I guess, Kate, since you're the numbers woman in our group, how many farmerettes do you have so far from California, if any? Because Sue Fitzpatrick and I are really on board this train, so we want to get California represented.
We have 9.
Thank you.
We have 9 farmerettes from California. And Elaine Weiss's article in the Smithsonian said 175 women registered in Sacramento. So they're there. The numbers, we have 9. So please do go find them. You're going to find them in diaries. People who love to read old diaries. The women wrote about what they were doing, so you can check the diaries. You can look in newspapers, old newspaper articles that talk about the women going out, and you probably will find one name at a time, because unless you find something like the Montgomery County Archives, a woman who served in DC, saved all her paperwork. She had lists, she was in charge, and she had lists of who went to what farm to work. And the family saved those papers, and her granddaughter gave them to Montgomery County, and they graciously digitized them and put them online. Now, if you can find one of those, it's a gold mine, because the WLA, the Women's Land Army women, were very, very organized, and they did keep lists. And I've started joking with archivists, and I include a little paragraph about the Indiana Jones movie. The end of that movie, you all have seen it, where the camera's going through this giant warehouse that's all dusty and kind of dark. And I point out that all of these cards and records are in some archival basement. And I say, not yours maybe, but they're there somewhere. And I tell that because my oldest son, who's a lawyer in DC, said that what I need is an intern. Because he had a friend who was an intern for a politician, and she went in the basement at the Library of Congress, and she found the card files with the names of all the people on this project that this politician was looking for. No one had cataloged it. No one had written the list up, but she did it as an intern. So it's going to take digging.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Linda, you have your hand up, please, ma'am. White.
Kate, my question is, do you have a list of farmerettes located so far in every state?
We have 33 states, and I'd be glad to send all of you a copy of that list, or if you just want your state's worth, I can send that to you.
Well, I would like to have the whole list because while I represent Arkansas, many of our members' ancestors are not from Arkansas, they're from other states. So that's where they'd be looking in both of those areas.
Okay.
So please, if you would.
Glad to.
Thank you.
You know, I'm curious too. There were maybe about 75% that were college students, but how many of those college students went away from their home to college? So say those that, I think there were 17 juniors and 4 seniors from the University of Chicago that were at the Libertyville camp. But, you know, were all of those women Illinois women, you know, or did they come from somewhere, some other state to go to school there? So I think we're going to have to keep that in mind a little bit and not assume that, you know, everyone that went to college was from that particular state, you know, just a thought.
Yeah, the Vassar list did point out their hometowns. They were students at Vassar and they gave the hometowns. So that's making it easy to find them in the 1920 census. But what Linda said is they were in college. So you know their records are in some university basement. The question is to get somebody to leave their desk and their computer and go look in the box in the basement.
We have 3 hands up. We've got Sue Moritz, Nancy Gilfillan, and Wayne. So why don't we go with you, Sue, first?
While we're just sitting here, I Googled, what did I Google? Farmerettes in Michigan. One of the sentences says that the farm and garden branches and divisions of Michigan planted thousands of victory gardens and produced bushels of food and tens of thousands. In Michigan, some branches purchased pressure cookers and rented them for 25 cents a day to farm women to assist them in preserving their harvest. So there is even another angle at the whole thing.
Yes, there were city groups that would train the young women to use pressure cookers and to can, because these city girls are like me, they went to the grocery store. And so they had to be trained how to do that. And then they were out on the farms helping the farm wives, or even in small towns with like the church, you know, basement or the church hall set up to can and preserve.
There was a big push, especially during World War I, to not waste food. You know, there were posters like "Can all you can." So this was very important to, you know, save every piece of food every way that they could. So that was, you know, the pressure cooker was part of that movement. You know, they trained the women in all types of livestock, planting fruits and vegetables, you know, how to plant them, how to harvest them, how to can and preserve them. The Libertyville camp had quite a dairy business and provided eggs and chickens to Chicago stores, and even cheese. They had quite a cheese making business at the Libertyville camp. So it's really, you know, interesting.
Nancy Gilfillan. Nancy Gilfillan.
She looks frozen.
All right, let's go on to Wayne. You have a question?
The question I have, Kate, is looking at the Fruits of Victory book. the first thing that catches my eye are always pictures. And there's on page 228, there's a picture of the Farmerette periodical. And what it says in the underneath it is that as a way to connect with alumni, the Farmerette periodical was being printed. And this is from the Barnard College archives. I'm just wondering if we can get our hands on the archives periodicals. If it's saying that it's a way for Farmerette alumni to stay connected, there ought to be a lot of names in it.
Yes, and the key is that those newsletters aren't digitized, which means someone in the library has to get up and go find them in a file. And it's the convincing them to get up and go look. Now, if we have some farmer members near Barnard, they could go and ask, can I go look?
I don't know where the college is, Barnard College. I haven't Googled that yet.
I think it's out east.
It is, it's in the east.
Most all of them were east.
It's near Columbia. It's in New York. It's in New York.
Barnard College is actually part of Columbia University. It's the all-girls school, well, all-women's college for Columbia University.
Thank you, Amanda.
Yeah, I know they did have alumni associations, and I wondered if, we'd be able to tap into that somehow through a college or university. But as Kate said, it's probably in a file or in a box in the basement somewhere.
Perfect.
I just actually Googled the same thing for Texas, and I found stuff in Texas History UNT.edu about farmerettes in Falfurrias, Texas. And so there is information out there.
Yeah, the difficulty is that a lot of those articles are just informational or talking about, they don't mention names.
Right.
There's only one name of a leader, and we've got her.
This one has names in it, so if I can forward it to you.
Please do, thank you.
Please. Deanna, your turn.
That was my question, whether we just forward the names or forward the article, because I found a article that does have specific names in it, and World War I, this is William H. Hubert, National Director of the WLAA. And then letters from farmers that said the girls are
those two.
I think she's frozen now too.
Yeah, those articles are great. The way the farmers decided that, these women were wonderful.
Right.
Deanna,
may I say something about if you are searching? Yes, please do share the articles with us. We have the database that we can plug the article in, and it doesn't matter if we already have it. We don't want to miss anything. So, don't be afraid that, oh, we've already looked at that. So if you find something, just share it with us, please.
Deanna, thank you so much. We appreciate that. Share it with Kate and Linda and myself. And if you have Charlie's email, we would appreciate it. Okay. We'll also ask, did we lose Nancy? I guess we lost Nancy.
Yeah, I guess
right. Well, you lost me for a minute too.
Yeah.
We'll ask Nancy to send the contact information for the group, the panel. Before we move on, are there any other questions for Farmerettes? And I'm going to go off script again for a second. You all are quite aware that we did the, let me try and get this one. I hope I can get it. The SOS.
Yes.
So sharing of societies was really a good thing. Everyone did great. Everyone had a lot of fun. We have a question, or we have a statement, and this is what, this is not it. This is not it. This is from our attorney, And I feel each of you as an ambassador needs to know where we stand. Farmers, NSDOAF, can assist other societies. It's okay on what we had done before, but we must have a 501c3 number or letter from anyone who participates in SOS. And this protects our society for losing our 501c3. If you hear anyone who has any questions about this, we are adhering to it, going back for July 17th. We are trying to reconstruct for July the 17th. And we are also trying hard to do it in September. If we cannot get the EIN numbers in September from the societies, then we will not have SOS in September. Are there any questions? I told you all when you signed on, you were just like part of the board, and I'm keeping you as informed as I can.
I think that's a great idea, because there are a lot of groups that don't, you know, they pop up, but they don't have the status.
Well,
and it's not hard to get if you know how to do it, but we do need to be careful.
So going forward, we will have 501c3 numbers for anyone in SOS. I am so pleased to turn this over to Chris Hurst-Leffler for scholarships. And then Sue, if you will please stay on, I will ask you to do membership. All yours, Chris.
Thank you, Madam President National. Thank you for a little bit of time during your meeting today. And again, to our Farmerette panel, your information is just wonderful and inspiring to us. So I'm very happy to report that so far we have 13 applications for scholarship for the fall term. This is very exciting. I think although this number is a little bit lower than what we saw for the spring, you know, that's okay. We don't expect quite the large response over the summertime. Sometimes this kind of goes off students' radars. Again, a sweet time to reach out to professors to contact their students would be right after spring break. And so perhaps next year, as we reach that point, really the end of March, beginning of April, is a good time to reach out to those professors. But right now we have 13 applications in our queue. That includes applications from both undergraduate as well as graduate students. The states that are so far represented include Indiana, Texas, Georgia, Idaho, Oregon, and Kentucky. So congratulations to all of these, but really, again, it's a team and collaborative effort. My deep appreciation goes out to all of the ambassadors, directors, board members, and members who have spread the word about farmers. And I am very excited to begin to call together the scholarship committee so that we can read all these applications and get together to select some fabulous recipients for the fall 2021 semester. So we still have a few days left. Please continue to share the information at every opportunity. Our deadline for fall is August 1st. And so that's 1 week from this coming Sunday. So we still have a little bit more than a week left. So thank you, Madam President National, for this time.
Thank you, Chris. Does anyone have any questions for scholarship? No. Yes, ma'am. Linda does.
How many total applicants do you have at this time?
Currently, we have 13, 1-3.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Trish has her hand open up.
Yes, Christina, thank you for the report. How many did you have from Kentucky?
Currently, I have 1 from Kentucky.
Okay, can you tell me what school?
Yes, I can.
Bless you.
And the application is from University of Kentucky, and the applicant is Jaden Thompson.
Yay, team. Okay. Okay.
We don't give preferential treatment here, but just
no,
saying.
I understand, but I have been contacting her and staying in touch with her, and I've contacted Western several times, but I keep pulling a blank there, so I'll send some more emails out to them.
Ms. Thompson's application's in the queue and it's complete.
Thank you. Thank
you
very
welcome.
much.
Of course.
Great, thank you. Sue Fitzpatrick, are you available to tell them about membership and what you can send them and help them?
Yes, ma'am. I can send any of the ambassadors their listing of who are members in their state. I know that I just recently did that for Vermont and Kansas, and I can do that at any time. If you will email me, I will send you a list of members from your state so that you have all their contact information. And that's easy to do. And I will gladly do that for you. It doesn't take me very long. And if that's something that you think you need, I know Texas is a huge one, and I have to got to figure out how I'm going to do that for each of you. But for the rest of you, it's pretty easy. So if you do need that information, please do let me know.
Okay. Thank you, Sue. Wayne has a question.
It's not a question, but rather an observation. I purchased the American Farmers magnetic sign,
yes,
and put it on my Jeep. And it does attract conversation, because I'll have, on a regular basis, they'll ask, what's on your Jeep? And it gives me an opportunity to tell them about American farmers. So it does work for ambassadors as you travel and you do the things that, that you're doing to promote the society. The sign on your vehicle does not only promote the society, but also it does show that you are totally committed and that you are a representative of the American farmers. So I just want to let you know my experience so far.
Thank you, Wayne. Thank you so much. I'm going to let Bev again explain her marvelous canvas that she makes. And then before we finish, I would like to do a photograph now that we have Nancy back.
Okay. Yes, again, a Canvas, a program that the National Society Descendants of American Farmers have, and it's for me to use for everyone that has any needs. So if you need a Zoom backdrop, if you need an invite to join from your state to your members or anything, I'm sure we'll be advertising the Farmerettes on our Facebook page too. So I'm looking forward to working with the directors on what they want to advertise for that. So just don't be shy and ask me if you have anything that you want to be designed.
And she does beautiful work. Look at all of them. All right, it's time to do some photographs.
May I comment first?
Yes.
When I was so rudely interrupted by losing the internet totally, I don't know where it went. I just wanted to say that I have asked because we're back to Farmerettes as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, we are.
Okay. I've asked Kate and Linda and Charlie if they would write short 2 or 3 paragraphs for us to share with the ambassadors what it exactly, so we don't say anything wrong, about what the Farmerettes are that we might put in our newsletters. And with permission, we might even be able to use a little bitty one of the posters to go along with it, because I like graphics. And if you would do that, we'd all be sharing the same thing over your signatures, and we won't touch it. We'll just use it. I would appreciate that. And you guys put your heads together and write me a good one, okay? But you can't have, remember, my newsletter's not really long, so I don't want goblots. I just need enough to tell about this. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, let's do a couple of photographs. Is everybody ready? Mm-hmm. Oh, you're always all ready. Thank you. And you realize that I always change my backdrop to ones when you all are, hold on, we just had Beth jump in.
And there's Melissa.
Melissa's in, so hold on. And there's Jennifer, so I've got the whole group.
Melissa sideways.
Oh, well, so I'll have, there goes Melissa, she's regular. All right. I've got the whole page. Good photos. I want to thank everyone again. As I said in the beginning of this, each of you are so important to our society. We appreciate each one of you. And if you want to help with Farmerettes, it's your choice. It's not part of the criteria of being an ambassador, but it is certainly appreciated. And we really appreciate all of you going out and helping get us scholarship applicants. That's huge for us. And I know Chris is going to be looking forward to having at least 50 to 60 at the next one. That's what we had the last time, so we would appreciate that a lot. Each and every one of you are so important to this society. And I personally thank you for investing the time, the effort, the energy, and the money. And we know that you have each invested money into farmers and into being an ambassador. So thank you from the bottom of our heart. If we can do anything for you at any time, we certainly will. Is all you have to do is ask Davina or I, and we will do whatever is in our power to make it happen. Any questions? Any statements? All right, with saying that, then I'm going to say farmer smile, farmer hugs, farmer kisses.
Thank you for coming.
And thank you so much, everyone, for being on. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you, Scholarship. Sue, thank you so much for being here also. And if any of you want to stay on, I'm going to be talking about membership for a few moments with Gretchen if you want to. If you don't, that's fine too. So thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Very interesting.
Good. And so all of you know, Debbie Hansen, her father passed away a week ago. So please keep her in your prayers.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And everything else is going great. So we are going to talk about family membership.
Yes.
All right. The topic, family membership, is 2 or more. And Gretchen, your husband would be your second one. So he would be $250. I'm gonna, just one moment. I'll go ahead and keep recording it. Your husband would be $250.
Okay.
If you bring in your son and you want him with a lifetime, he's another $250, not $300. Okay.
Okay.
If you don't, his is $150. Now, we need to do something else. You paid $300 for your membership, correct, Gretchen? Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So the family membership is $250 per person. So that means that you have overpaid by $50 when your husband comes in and your son. So you can actually take $50 off of your son or off of your husband.
Okay.
It all depends on what you want. And family membership is a good way to go because it pays it for the long time.
Mm-hmm.
With our numbers right now being as high as they are, I believe that the powers that be that keep telling us that we will exceed 2,000 by the end of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
I don't doubt it now. We have an advertisement going in the September. Is it the DAR magazine, Davina?
Newsletter.
The DAR newsletter. So that should help us. The Clipper, did you all see the advertisement we had in the Clipper?
No.
We had an advertisement in the Clipper. So
I had a chance to read it. It came today.
Oh, good. Well, so
yeah, page 17.
Thank you, Sue. Sue is the one who sent it to us so we could see it. And we have an ad that at any time, if you need one, I can email it to you. And if it needs to be changed in any way, shape, or form, then Bev is so kind and she will change it for us. Donna, you had a question?
No, I would like a copy.
That would be fine. I will send it to you.
Yes.
Absolutely. Wayne, yes.
There's something I did not add, and I meant to. This is directed to Nancy. Nancy, where the ambassadors are concerned, I did order business cards. And what I'm doing now, instead of giving out Sons of the American Revolution or whatever else that I have, I'm handing out the American Farmers business card. Because again, just like the magnetic sign, it leads into a conversation regarding membership and joining. And it is helpful. And I think ambassadors, as they go about their duties and visit, to have those cards, passing them out is going to open some doors.
Do we have a
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have a template for business cards?
I use Vistaprint.
Okay.
And so ours are, Wayne, how much did, yours was like $9, $10, $11 for 500. They weren't much.
To be honest, I don't remember.
Yeah, they're very reasonable when we order them because we get a huge discount.
Okay.
We get 30% off of the regular rate. And then I just have them drop shipped to you. Chris.
Did they give you a credit? Mine, remember that they had an error on the back of the card?
No, sir, I have yours to resend you. I have a new set for you.
I just was going to mention I haven't received anything, and if not, then they do owe you a credit. So
no, thank you, but thank you. They're sitting on the piano waiting for you to come get them.
I'll be right there.
Thank you. Chris, you have a question or a statement?
Yeah, just dovetailing into Wayne's comment about the business cards. You know, originally mine just said Southern California Ambassador. I'm adding the scholarship director line on the front of mine, but then I'm doing the reverse side with the QR code so that, you know, as soon as people get it, they can literally scan the QR code and it takes them directly to the website. So I thought that would kind of be another little thing that links people more immediately right to our organization. They don't even have to go home and look it up. They can just scan it and bang, they're there. So just a thought.
You know, I
so
really
you used your own.
I love that QR code. It has been so helpful. And we use it not just for farmers, we use it everywhere. But when I have our business cards remade, we will put the QR code on. Right now, on the back of our business cards, it tells a little bit about the criteria, just a tad. But we can change it up anytime we want. It's so reasonable for us to get. And Nancy Gilfillan, do not we have a template that someone made that was most gracious that can be printed on their own computer?
There is a template that you sent that they have, and it just has the emblem on it. So, and it allows you to do, like, I think 4 lines. Now I created one too that I print out, and it also has the emblem, and I had to squeeze my titles into, like Chris, because that's why I had to change it. But I like the idea of trying to, when I run them, then flip it over and try running it with the QR code. I'll try that next.
Kate, were you the one who made the, yes, you did.
I was going to say that if an archives writes back to you, I've had 1 or 2 of the librarians ask about farmers, and I've sent them information about it. So there's another opening. And wearing the rooster as a necklace, I get lots of comments. I can't see that Wayne is going to want to wear this, but if you ladies would like to wear, it does start a conversation.
It does. People see it.
Davina wears hers. See, Davina is never without her red rooster.
Usually.
Ever. She wears it on her sweater, on everywhere. Everywhere. One moment. Oops.
I am going to sign off. And this was wonderful. Thank you so much for all the information. And thank you to everyone who does so much for our organization. So God bless.
Thanks, Donna. Take care of yourself.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Donna.
Bye.
Okay.
So Davina, what if we wanted to use my husband's Patriot line, can I do the SAR application?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
That works great.
Okay. He's still trying to decide what line he wants to do. If he wants to do something completely different or whether he wants to make this easy on me.
It's a big decision. It's a big decision. Good for him. Good for him. They're all important ancestors.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, ladies. I really appreciate this today. It was very informative.
Glad you attended. Thank you.
Thanks, Gretchen.
Thank you. I'm signing off though.
Okay, bye. Talk later.
Okay, bye. Okay.
I'm going to sign off as well. Thank you all for coming.
Bye,
and
everybody.
Thank you for your kind words.
Yeah. Danny Sue, you're muted.
Thank you, Linda.
Janice Sue's muted.
She is. Jenna Sue, you're muted.
In the starting of this society, we had one of our national officers did scholarships, and then I appointed Chris. And truly, she has just been a marvel for this society. And thank you again, Chris, for doing that. And then we have Sue, who is membership, and she is magnificent. Now, add on Linda and Kate and Charlie. We've got the A team. And then before you get all that together, I threw in Nancy. And man, we've got everybody. So y'all are great. I appreciate each one of you. And share it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
My allergies are killing me today, too.
Cheryl, Linda, you are always so dependable and always appreciated. Thank you. Thank you. So with that, I think I need to get water.
I think we ought to close it. Thank you all very much. Good to see you.